Hi, everyone. This is Sunny, and welcome to my podcast. I'm a spiritual coach, and I talk about spiritual practices that can make you the most authentic version of yourself with the power of unconditional self love. So, I'll be making a lot of videos on lower vibrations from now onwards. Why? Because I want to talk in detail why these lower vibrations are there in our lives, what can we do to transform ourselves, and and the spiritual importance or aspects around it. Okay. But let me talk about lower vibrations in general. Okay. When I say lower vibrations, vibration is what? It's a frequency. And all human beings operate on certain frequencies. Why? Because we are made of matter and energy. So energy is something which is associated with our feelings, with our emotions. Those are getting triggered by different sort of thoughts. And those thoughts are coming from our past experiences, trauma, all those kind of positive or negative experiences. Okay. So let's say when we see a sunny day in Ireland, right, we get happier. When we always experience rain in Ireland, when we are always feeling depressing and we are complaining about it. This is just a very common example. And the kind of energy that we are emitting, okay, is the emotions basically. It's the vibration of us that we are emitting into the universe, which are reflecting our state of emotion. Okay. So, in a nutshell, your thoughts trigger your emotions. Thoughts cannot be controlled. You will still get thoughts. They can be reprogrammed, but they are triggering emotions which can be controlled, right? And those emotions are emitting the vibration into the universe in terms of, what we are looking for, or what kind of desires we have, or how are we feeling about certain things, and so on and so forth, or certain situations in our lives. Okay. So as I keep saying, the divine, the creator, the universe, they always operate at the highest frequency or the vibration of peace and unconditional self-love. So what it means is, even though we are going through a lot of struggles, even though we are going through a lot of hardships, even though we are going through a lot of pain, if we are able to get our peace back, right, then we can maintain our vibrations at the same level of the divine, of the creator of the universe. But this is the most difficult part, okay? And we are not able to do that. Why? Because we go through a lot of stuff in our lives. Since our childhood, we go through traumas, and then we go through, downloading of a lot of limited belief systems from our childhood, from our parents, from our schooling, from our college, from our jobs, from our relationships, from our financial status, right? And those limited belief systems, they get stored into your subconscious thoughts, which we hardly touch upon. Okay? Consciousness is something, what you think is what you say. Okay? Subconscious is something, what you know is already there, but it actually drives your decisions or your emotions towards certain things. Let's say from, job point of view, from relationships point of view, from your health point of view, from people point of view, and so on and so forth. Okay. As I said, that, those subconscious thoughts are so much immersed into our mind memory, right? that we overlook them and we do not try to get any courage to reprogram them because of the experiences and the vibrations that we operate on. So what I mean by that, I'm going to give you an example first. Okay. And this is coming from my 20 years of experience of going through a lot of hardships in my life, from health, financial, as well as relationship setbacks. Okay. So I went through a lot of limited belief system. My parents, my father was an engineer. He's dead now. He died at the age of 58. And he always wanted me to become an engineer. Okay. Right? Because he was an engineer. So he wanted me to be an engineer, and that was a limited belief system. However, I went for a different thing altogether, right? And I did a different course, different kind of education, right? Which my father wasn't happy about. Okay. Then I went for a marriage, which was, I come from an Indian culture, right? Indian background. So, in our culture, if we are getting married, we get a sense of approval. It's not a kind of like, strong approval that we require from our parents, but it's a sense of approval that we require from parents from both sides, right? From the bride and the groom. But from my side, my parents weren't happy at all about my marriage. And, right. And a year before my marriage, my father passed away as well, so my mother was left alone. I took that decision to marry a girl against my parents' wishes, and that turned out to be kind of like a setback for me, because I was married for 8 long years with a person who had the narcissistic characteristics of controlling, of negativity, of no growth at all whatsoever. And also, then you tend to lose the kind of like interest in the relationship. And that's what happened with me. And that's why I had to take that decision to go for a divorce. But having said that, I kept attracting all those kind of things again and again. Financial losses from the start of my job, right? I had that limited belief system about relationships, or relationships are like that because we always have to chase the relationships, right? We always have to chase for respect. And we always have to prove our worth in front of our parents, that we are worthy of something. Okay. And that's what I kept doing, since my childhood and until I was 2.5, 3 years ago, right? So what it taught me was I was blaming, I was regretting about things, about my past relationships, my past decisions, right? I was comparing myself with my relatives, with my friends. They were all settled. I wasn't settled at all. I never used to have a good bank balance at all, right? Whatsoever. Not only that, I lost my respect in front of my parents, right? I lost my respect in front of my relatives. And I was also going through a physical illness. I told you about that. I'm at the age of 30, I was diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. And just because of that, I had to do that body transformation to start following intermittent fasting, and it has become a discipline for me now. So I only eat like once a day. So I had to go through all those kind of different transformations to get out of those cycles. Okay, get out of those limited belief systems. Get out of those, relationship-based, traumas that I had. And I healed myself from there. And I understood one thing. Whatever we say from outside, okay? But if you're feeling or if we have that lower vibrational emotions within us, right, we keep attracting the same kind of thing. Although I was very positive whenever I used to talk to people, right? I still talk to people and I'm always positive, but this time I talk with complete authenticity, because what I am from inside is what I am from outside, right? The only and only work that was lacking within me was to look inwards, and that's what we don't do. Okay. First thing first, that pain we go through, that struggle we go through, that suffering we go through, it's so hard for us to bear that. It's so dreadful. Then we are only and only looking for something from outside which can give us some or the other relief whatsoever. Maybe from a relationship point of view. Maybe if we are going through some health issues, we are looking for medications, right, that can lower our pain down. Maybe from financial losses, so that we could at least get a job, a simple job somewhere, so we could start earning money, and try to get back on track. And it's hard. I've gone through all of it. I've gone through job losses, contract losses, right? Divorces. You say it. You say it. Right. I saw my father passing away at the age of 58 as well. And I was only 27. Now I'm 43. But when I ended up attracting another narcissist in my life, she gave me a chakra blocker, the real soul awakening. And that's how the whole the most painful spiritual transformation that got triggered, because I wasn't left with any other options. Okay. But before I talk about that, right, why do we go through those kind of experiences at the first place, right? There are two ways of looking at it. Okay. The first way to look at it is, and I'm going to be honest, from a spiritual point of view, whenever we are born with a baggage of karma from our past lives. So what I mean by that, in our past lives, we didn't transform ourselves for certain things in our lives, and those things got carried forward in this lifetime. And until we learn the lesson, the universe will keep testing us. So really and truly, those lower vibrations are keeping us stuck in terms of our mental and emotional growth, and physical growth as well. But if we understand and have that calmness and clarity by reprogramming our minds, right, then we can start controlling our emotions and our vibrations, which are being emitted into the universe. Okay. That's one scenario. The other scenario could be, you would have seen certain people, that they have been suffering with a health issue for their entire lives. Or probably they got cancer at a very young age. Or probably there were some kids born with some kind of severe illnesses, or there would be some families going through financial losses for their entire life, right? Or there would be some people who'd be experiencing a lot of deaths in their families, right? One after another. Okay. So there is always a lesson behind it. that the universe wants us to look into. The lesson the universe wants to give, or the God, or the Creator, is the lesson of acceptance and forgiveness, and ultimately loving ourselves. Doesn't matter whatever the situation is. But we do the other way around. We start blaming. We start complaining. We start regretting. We start hating. We start keeping vengeance for people, right? We start comparing ourselves, right? We start judging ourselves. And that's where we forget about ourselves, and we stop loving ourselves. Okay? So this is the exact thing that happened with me. I carried some kind of baggage from a previous life that I was supposed to clear, right? And then I showed some kind of courage after that soul awakening that happened after, attracting another narcissist in my life. And I asked myself those questions. Why are those things happening with me? I want to know the spiritual reason behind it. So, as I keep saying, spiritual reasons, it is so simple to understand spirituality, but we have complicated it by relating it to different religions. But spirituality is only and only sciences which was adopted by different gods, different kind of saints, right, in the ancient times, which made them so powerful that people started following them as gods. Because then they understood the real principles of spirituality in order to create anything in their lives with patience. Okay? But what we want today is instant gratification. That's another low vibration. Oh, I've done this work. Now I'm just looking for a result. Okay, I made this video now. Tomorrow I'll be looking for 15 new views or maybe 10 more followers. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in spirituality. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If I show the energy or the lower vibration of chase or chasing certain things, I will never be able to chase that. That's it. It will be always and always a cat and a mouse chase. And then we will get frustrated, and then all those lower vibrations follow one after another. See, lower vibrations attract lower vibrations, right? And the higher vibrations attract higher vibrations. The love attracts love. The abundance attracts abundance, right? So these are the reasons, these are the spiritual reasons, okay, that we go through certain things since our birth. And, during certain phases in our lives, that could be our past karma of the same life as well. Because we forget about thinking bad about certain people, and then when somebody is doing bad to you, then you say, oh, I have never done bad to anyone. Okay? Now, the thing is here, you've already thought bad about one person that, oh, this guy's in a relationship. His relationship, shouldn't work, right? That's what I'm expecting. I'm so jealous of it, right? Right? And then when you end up attracting a good relationship in your life, and that relationship breaks, and then you start playing a victim card. You don't really realize that. Why? Because we do not have any control on our subconscious thoughts, which are the most common reason for emitting that kind of vibration into the universe. And that's where I worked upon in terms of healing those subconscious thoughts, right? Reprogramming them. I healed myself on my own. I didn't go to any therapist. That's why I can talk on the camera without having a script. I'm not carrying any script. It all comes from there because I have complete clarity in terms of what I'm talking about. So this is what you need to look into. Your patterns, your limited belief systems, again and again. Okay? Now the spiritual repercussions of it. The lower vibrations, as I said, will keep attracting lower vibrations. And lower vibrations will keep attracting lower vibrational people. Like a thief attracts a thief, kind of like an unhealed person would always attract another unhealed person, right? Okay? And so on and so forth. A drunkard would attract a fight or an argument. Okay? Yeah, and I can give you endless examples. You would have seen that already, right? The spiritual reason behind all those things is only and only that we learn the lesson and we connect to the divine and we surrender ourselves and start accepting people and situation and start forgiving our past people and situations without judging ourselves or without comparing ourselves with anybody else, so that we could connect to ourselves with no sense of ego or identity. Okay? So if I keep saying no sense of ego or identity, because we develop that kind of ego or identity by the passage of our age, wherein we say, oh, I have already built a house. Oh, I have achieved this. Oh, I am this or I am that. Right? We have to dissolve all those identities in order to connect to ourselves, to unconditionally love ourselves with no obsession in place. Okay? That's what divine is trying to tell you spiritually. That's what the universe is trying to tell you spiritually. And that's why the divine, the creator, the God will keep taking tests, whether you've learned the lessons or not, until you move on to the next level. And you will come to know whether you move on to the next level or not. See the way I have achieved eternal love and peace for myself? Okay? And this is gonna remain with me forever now. But we have to start a journey from somewhere, and which requires a lot of courage. And when I say a lot of courage, if you want to take that accountability, you got to be strong and you got to understand why you want to take that accountability at the first place. Because if you're not accountable for yourself, you cannot be accountable for others' emotions or mental clarity. Simple. If you do not love yourself, you cannot love others. Simple. It will be all superficial. It will be all fake. So that's why I keep saying, people have dual standards, right? There's something from inside, something else from inside, or something else from outside. They wear a mask And that is the reason narcissist people are always wearing a mask, right? And then you fall into a trap. But I'm not going to talk about narcissist people. They're responsible for their own karma. Karma is what? What you think, which triggers your what kind of emotions, which triggers your words, what you speak, what you talk about, which triggers your actions. Your thoughts do the emotions, emotions do the action, do the words, and words do the actions. Okay, best way to look into that: you think about going to the gym, and then you feel motivated to go to the gym, which is your emotion. I'm highly motivated, which is your energy. Once you have the energy, then you act. Then you say to yourself, let's go to the gym. I'm going to the gym no matter what. You tell it to your mother, you tell it to your parents or friends or whatever that is. Okay? Because you got that mental clarity, right? But you do not keep that mental clarity every day, right? Why? Because your emotions are always up and down. Your vibrations are always up and down. Oh, the weather's bad. Oh, your emotions are down then. Oh, the weather's good. Oh, the emotions are good. We are dependent upon external factors for our vibrations. So if you stop depending upon external factors like weather, people, a restaurant, movies, right? Gossips, negativity, complaining, politics, religion, war. If you keep yourself away from that, you will detoxify your soul to a large extent. Okay. Now, what spiritual concepts are there to help you break all those cycles? I've talked about acceptance and forgiveness. Also, I keep saying that in my video, as I'm a spiritual coach, I do teach meditation as well, which is based on ancient Hindu meditation practice, power of silence, wherein we sit in silence and we allow the thoughts to come up to the surface, to observe and to let them go and start reprogramming those subconscious thoughts with the principles of peace, love, compassion, forgiveness, non-judgmental, patience, abundance, self-worth, self-respect. Right? And if you start doing that 5 minutes a day, right? Just 5 minutes, you'll see you will feel a lot better, a lot calmer in terms of emotions. And you will slowly see that you will not be attracting any lower vibrational energy around you. Doesn't matter whether it's people or situations. I have gone through that, believe you me. I have been through so many spiritual tests, and I wasn't even able to come to know about when are those spiritual, attacks going to happen, and they would happen all of a sudden from a person whom I don't even know. Okay? Here in Ireland. And I used to kind of think about, why is it happening to me? Why is it? Because the universe is very into testing you. Just before making this video, I went through a spiritual test again, and the universe was trying to test my patience. What happened was I was making my videos and it wasn't getting uploaded on my software. This is the 4th time I'm recording now. Just can you believe that? This is the 4th time I'm recording, and it's around 11:30 p.m. in Ireland. I do have to carry those sunglasses with me. Why? Because, I'm I got that eye vision sensitivity towards the light here, okay, that I'm using for making this video. So that's how the universe will test you. That's how. And so that's how universe will see, are you blaming? Are you getting frustrated? How are you thinking now? Right? How are you feeling? Okay. So once you start passing those tests, oh, the tests get better. Why? Because you're getting stronger. Right? You are strong. You just need to get that courage to sit with yourself, to heal yourself, and to improve yourself from a mind, body, and soul perspective. Because what you are is what you're going to get. Until my next video, Sunny signing off. Take care.